kind of seen all of our reporters across the viewing area, the different areas, and now Danville getting it.
Yeah, they're kind of the back edge of this, is oftentimes the case. South side is where it all kind of comes to a close. We saw Carly up in Nelson County earlier on. There were some breaks in the clouds there. So everyone's going to get the breaks in the clouds in the coming few hours, but we still got about another 60, maybe 90 minutes of snow to contend with here across Southside Virginia. As alluded to at the top of the broadcast, is just about out of Martinsville, and it is moving at a pretty good clip. So after about 6 o'clock or so, we think everything will be out of Danville. 6:37 out of South Boston as well. But a quick coating to be found here, perhaps as much as an inch in some of these deeper blue shades. It's where we have some of the heavier snowfall right between Gretna and Danville, extending down toward Chatham and Blair's. And this is going to be heading eastward for a final burst through a lot of central Halifax County toward Volans, Nathley, and South Boston here, we think going forward closer to 6 o'clock. Temperatures, as expected all day, have been slowly coming down after starting off this morning in the 40s in a lot of places right after midnight. Widespread 20s outside now to 25 in Danville, 24 in Lynchburg, 23 for the Star City. And you look not too far off to the north, the temperatures teens, low 20s and beyond there. And that's basically where the air is going to be coming from here over these next 6 hours or so from the northeast here. And the strength of these breezes from the northeast will begin to back off much later on into the evening. But early on, we're still going to have these 10-15 mile-an-hour winds at a pretty consistent clip. There's our larger scale radar satellite composite. Again, in the blue shade, you see where we have the snow, and that magenta shade kind of where we had that mix earlier on. That's now more of an issue down toward Raleigh. But there's the back edge of the precipitation. Find a little wave of lighter snow to be found actually out toward Interstate 77. But we expect that one's going to have a hard time really pushing its way eastward from the Appalachians. There's the center of the storm system heading offshore. Big cell of Canadian Arctic. High pressure builds in the wake for about a day and a half or so, and that's what's going to keep us so cold for tonight and tomorrow. The sun will be out. There'll be a few high, thin clouds in the mix, but the temperature is likely to hold only a few degrees above the freezing mark. So there's lots of cold air immediately upstream under the anchor of that big cell of high pressure. Only place that's remotely warm now is down through South Georgia and ultimately into the Florida Peninsula. So again, we're clear for tonight. Few of these high clouds coming in briefly for tomorrow morning, but a mainly sunny sky to be found across the heart of Virginia tomorrow. So we'll call it mainly clear. Very cold tonight. The low temperatures about 10 or so. We do expect a pretty wide range between the urban centers and the more countryside locations, which could be down around 5 or 6 first thing in the morning, whereas the more urban centers are in line with the lower or even middle teens. For tomorrow in central Virginia, we'll call it sunny. It stays cold, high 35 in Lynchburg and Appomattox, 34 in Livingston. Southside Virginia also will pause before getting to 40 degrees in spite of the sunshine tomorrow. 38 for South Boston, 36 in Brook Neal, and 35 at Smith Mountain Lake. Going westward from the Blue Ridge, a frigid start here. We do expect some of those deeper sheltered valleys, perhaps as low as 4 or 5 degrees first thing tomorrow morning, but it will be sunny, stays cold with that little bit of a northeast breeze, and the highs hold at 37 for the Star City. Middle 30s across most of the New River Valley communities. Likewise, that's the case going through the western highlands, where some of the deeper snowpack actually resides late this afternoon. We'll take a closer look at the extended forecast, including peek ahead at this coming weekend in a few minutes. Tanner.